As horrible as it is, it's a pretty common occurrence when an online creator is found out to be a groomer. In spite of all the terms of service agreements, age limits, and the rising implementation of mass surveillance and spyware under the guise of child protection policies on social media, thousands of minors get exploited online each and every day. Some people do the grooming, some are trying their best to actually protect the kids, some close their eyes and pretend nothing ever happened, while others exploit the groomers and the kids for clout. Welcome to the expose of Nasty Blue Mutt, otherwise known as Kade, a small, lesser-known artist who knowingly hosted a server with a 70-30 ratio of minors to adults and might be a groomer himself. Nasty Blue Mutt, also known as Kade, is an NSFW furry artist posting on X since September of 2025 and Instagram as of October 2024. Being a primarily NSFW suggestive content artist, one would assume their account would, at the very least, contain a "minors do not interact" or something of the like. Obviously, you can't stop a minor from seeing your content, it's the internet. But Kade didn't have the common sense to even pretend to protect himself from allegations, more on that later. Aside from the questionable nature of his art, Kade has a modest following of 5,088 people, a history of reposting suggestive AI-generated images, and a Discord server, or at the very least had one. There is proof that the server existed. Kade has been promoting the server on Twitter. The server was made with the purpose of promoting his art, but obviously there were other reasons like connecting with his community and creating a fun space to thrive. There were around 5 or 6 actual, non-meme rules. First, a general reminder about following Discord terms of services. Second, all server users must be 16 years of age and up. Third, don't be an asshole. A rule that implied action against bullying or hate speech but stops working the moment Kade does it. A different, private group chat called Woke Island, consisting of 4 users, only known of by 2 eyewitnesses, exposes him as quite the hater with a great amount of transphobic, racist, and homophobic jokes, harassment and slander of another artist, as well as a concerning amount of feed pictures and straight-up pornography despite the presence of at least one documented minor in the group chat. Fourth, a vague rule against AI use, ironically enough. Fifth, mods reserve the right to take immediate action against anyone for any reason. Sixth, general sorting rules. No spamming, art deserves credit, everything should go in the proper channel. With the rest of the rules consisting of inside jokes. Don't let XYZ play music in public, always bully a specific user, etc. With the main focus on giving the moderators the right to take action against users as they saw fit, the rules, regardless of how strange they are, were rarely honored. 2 of the 7 or 6 server mods are confirmed to be minors, one of them being Yeats, while only 2 others are confirmed to be over the age of 18. Which, for a server dedicated to NSFW art? Weird, isn't it? Now, to address the elephant in the room. Yeast, also known as Yeats or Yeatsweast, is a 17-year-old Hispanic, gay plus aerospec, greenest deer ever. A funny thing to say while being homophobic in private. Yeats is a major player in the entire conflict due to being, as of the script being written on May 15th, 2026, is Kade's boyfriend, as well as one of the moderators on the now deleted server. This will be relevant later on. As we mentioned before, the rules of the server weren't respected at all. Frequent spam, bullying, and users as young as 14 ran rampant in the channels, and according to 3 different inside sources, the server had a user ratio of 70-30 minors to adults. That is more than 2/3 of the server who are kids interacting with furry porn and adults with questionable morals completely unsupervised. The fact that any minors are present in this server is an issue to begin with, let alone the alarming quantity of them for such a type of content. Now, I'm no data scientist, but doesn't that seem just really weird? Of course, a place like this facilitated the interaction between kids, or rather, hormonal teenagers, and predators, which leads to the incident. On the 7th of May 2026, Kade announced that he will be deleting the server in 5 hours. Kade later claimed, in a conversation with one of our agents, that his initial decision to close down the community was motivated by awkward interactions he experienced with some members. Shortly after, the imminent deletion was cancelled in favor of archiving the server, after several people made complaints. But before any of that happened, the would-be archive got deleted 3 hours before the set time. Shortly after the announcement, an interaction occurred and, unsurprisingly, got ignored due to the absence of active members. 2 unnamed users, who were reportedly 18 and 15 years old each, exchanged a series of concerning messages, with the 18-year-old repeatedly and incessantly asking the minor to send them pictures of their bare feet. According to several inside sources, this was far from the first time that particular user had pestered other members, specifically the mod team and Kade, with similar questions. Despite that, nobody ever took action against the member, only brushing them off as an annoyance. An hour after the interaction happened, the offending user got banned from the server, and after just 1 more hour, the entire server got deleted, despite Kade having promised to archive it. When asked later by one of our agents, the artist claimed the server was deleted for the reasons stated before, and completely brushed off the grooming attempt as alleged, refusing to take any responsibility for the incident. When all is said and done, we are left with most of the facts on the table, and we might be tempted to draw conclusions. However, to really put this into perspective, we have to know the entire story behind our main character, Kade. From the fact that he has been posting distinctly suggestive or outright NSFW art online consistently since 2025, one could reasonably assume his following would be made up of adults. But in spite of this reasonable assumption, somehow his server dedicated to NSFW art had a terrifying ratio of minors to adults and little to no enforcement in place to prevent the age gap and possible instances of grooming. Kade and his mod team seemed to have been perfectly aware that their community was mostly made up of younger teens, and didn't do a single thing about it, just because that demographic gave them the most numbers, the most interactions, and the most clout. Did not help that he had quite a self-absorbed personality either. Kade reveled in the praise, likes, and comments on his NSFW art made by literal kids, all while possibly using them as speedo bait for more people and more interaction, by accident or otherwise. Are we saying this was intentional? No. With all the good in our hearts, we sincerely hope that Kade was not putting minors at risk just to attract people who don't have their best interest in mind. We are, however, pointing out that by prioritizing numbers, likes, interactions, and closing his eyes on the rules, Kade put real people in reach of predators. Kade himself is, unfortunately, not safe from the quote-unquote allegations either. Kade has had an online presence mainly focused on suggestive furry art since 2024, and what's even worse, we know for a fact that this is not Kade's first account, as said by him personally. This lands us in a neat little trolley problem. Either Kade is also a minor and posting suggestive, nearly NSFW art while having their partner directly interact with it on a daily basis as a mod in a server dedicated to it, or Kade has a 2 to 3 year old age gap between him and his teenage partner. Some people may not consider a 17-year-old and a 19 to 20-year-old dating such a bad thing, but emotional development and maturity differences aside, think of the cultural connotations. That is a high school junior and a person in their 2nd year of college. That is a school kid and someone who can adopt a child, go to war, buy a gun, and drink in most countries of the world. In other words, TLDR, it's bad. Unfortunately, we can't exclude any possibility here. This is the internet, and for all we know, Kade could be 16 or he could be 30. But no matter if he is or isn't a groomer himself, he put a lot of teens in danger by negligence and by prioritizing his ego over his morals, and we cannot in good conscience let that stand. The fact that Kade chose to delete the server instead of archiving it as promised does not help his case in the slightest, and it's our job as Team Gossip to bring small internet drama to the light. Of course, this part is speculation, and you can't trust strangers on the internet all willy-nilly. But until we have a better story to go off, we will have a problem with people putting others in danger for clicks. Goodbye for now, and stay in touch. Spill you next time, Team Gossip.